In today's video, we will be diving in to the upcoming pattern where there is a whole lot of interesting things upcoming, including pattern flips with the temperatures, lots of storminess compared to what we've seen over the past week or so, and really just a lot of other interesting things that we're going to go over. We're in that very, very interesting transition phase between fall and winter now, where we're reaching later into the fall and we're seeing these changes occur where we're seeing wintry weather in the north and in the west in general, actually, currently. And we're seeing across the east and the central, southeast regions a lot of that summer weather that is finally trying to come to an end, but we're seeing some remnants of it right now. As we're taking a look at these current conditions, we can see there's a whole lot of interesting things going on. What was our major snowstorm that we were seeing yesterday out here for the Rockies has transitioned up. So this low, I'll show you exactly how it moved in. It moved in through the northwest here. It kind of dived down, just like this, moved around these regions, so it brought a lot of snowfall here to the Rockies. And then now we see that it has risen up here, almost there to Canada. It's right on the border, I would say, of the United States and Canada. So this is what we're seeing. We can also see, since our low is right here, a cold front is extending underneath now until we get some other lows down here going on. So there's some interesting things going on, but we do see cold air spreading throughout the plains right now. And this is leading towards some severe weather and some interesting thunderstorm impacts to the south. Still some snowfall up here to the north, and we even see our next storm system moving in the northwest. We do have a nor'easter here on the eastern United States, so when I say there's a lot going on currently, I'm not exaggerating. There is a whole lot going on currently. Let's move in. We'll take a look at the northwest real quickly, and we can see there is an occluded front here. So we see this is right here, and then we see the warm front underneath, cold front here. Pretty typical storm system. This is bringing some snowfall here to Idaho, Montana, Oregon, Washington a little bit there, hardly in Washington, throughout those kind of mountainous regions closer to the Rockies. Then we can see for the Cascade Mountains, we're seeing some snowfall as well, and then kind of rainfall surrounding these regions. As we move a little bit further north and a little bit further east, we can see our low up here. We see plenty of snowfall taking place throughout earlier in Montana and Wyoming, but now mostly just North Dakota and South Dakota. Bismarck is going to be included in this a little bit later on. Rapid City currently is seeing some snowfall out there, so we are seeing plenty of impacts with this low up there. We can see that down here for the cold front, we see that the storms are moving kind of northward along this cold front. This is another typical thing that happens at times. But this is bringing plenty of moderate to heavy precipitation with it. We can see persistent and widespread yellows and oranges going on. Wouldn't be surprised if throughout the day we do see some flooding from this, especially in flood-susceptible regions, just because this is a very persistent, moderate to heavy rainfall producer, and that's typically enough to bring flooding to certain areas. We can see out west we do have this kind of secondary low down here, bringing some snowfall for portions of the Rockies. Some rainfall there for Amarillo, Lubbock area there in Texas. We are seeing some thunderstorms potentially along that as well, some late season thunderstorms. We're definitely seeing thunderstorms here across Oklahoma, north central Texas, up through Kansas as well. We saw a severe thunderstorm roll through at least Fort Worth, maybe into Dallas. We saw a tornado warning north of that area as well along this cold front. Let's just zoom in to these different regions. We can see that severe thunderstorm warning there, and then the tornado warning took place somewhere near Denton there, north of Denton. So we saw that roll through very quickly. Focus here. Yeah, we saw that tornado warning for a little bit there. Don't know if that ended up producing or not, but regardless, that means there was a tornadic storm, which is pretty bad. We did see some severe thunderstorm warnings up there north in Oklahoma as well along this cold front. So my assumption is that there's plenty of damaging wind coming with this. Tulsa, Oklahoma, actually, is where we got that very northern severe thunderstorm warning. Up there. Now, lots of interesting weather happening out there, but also we have this nor'easter here, and this is throwing a lot of storms up here into New England. Pretty impactful. It was really nasty down here in Virginia yesterday. Really felt very fall-like. Definitely brought plenty of drizzle, some rainfall at times, and some cooler windy air. I'm sure that is similar to what we're experiencing here in New England with these almost thunderstorm-looking cells. So very heavy rainfall for some spots, but definitely just persistent drizzle and heavier in spots is what I'd be expecting throughout all of these regions. Even if you're not seeing green over your area, I'm sure it's foggy and drizzly throughout. That's kind of the effects that this had further south for sure. And that's pretty much all that's ongoing at this point. I know that's a lot that is going on, but there really is a whole lot going on. What we're going to do is we're going to focus in on the upcoming pattern where we'll talk more about what's expected over the next 10 days. Now, as we take a look here at the upcoming pattern, we can see that for today, we were expecting plenty of storminess in a lot of different areas, mostly here in the west. We're seeing plenty of low pressure systems here, and then the one here. We're also seeing this nor'easter kind of come to an end, again, bringing impacts up here. So we know there's a lot going on. By the time we reach tomorrow, we can see that this cold front here is going to still be ongoing. We do see a pretty strong low here. Still a cold front there. And this is bringing still plenty of storminess along this area. So definitely a very impactful system. We are seeing some snowfall still here for the northern Rockies by Tuesday. By the time we reach Wednesday, we can still see some snowfall here throughout this mountainous regions here in the northwest, the Rockies as well. And then a lot of the East Coast and the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes are seeing some storminess here from kind of the remnants of what was in the western United States. By Thursday here, October 27th here, we can see a little bit of storminess here for the southern Rockies and through the northern plains, but really a quieter day. And really the interesting thing about this day is we do have a bit of a trough in the east, probably bringing cooler than normal conditions here overall for the eastern United States. A little bit of a surge in temperatures out west, but we can see this storm system brewing up here. This is going to move down and really shove everything out. The warm air will again return to the east. We'll see that take place here over a couple of days. So we see the storminess moving down, probably bringing cooler temperatures with it. Warmer temperatures rising back up for the east. We're definitely seeing storminess here along the southeast. Definitely seeing some storminess down here in the southwest. That's pretty interesting for a La Nina. Definitely some snowfall as well in the Sierra Nevadas. Let's take a look. That's Halloween day here. By Tuesday, which will be November 1st, we are seeing plenty of storminess here along the eastern United States still, and some nasty weather in the west still. Wednesday here, we see another major storm system move down into the west, bringing a major blizzard or snowstorm at least here for the Rockies, the Cascades, the Sierra Nevada. Definitely seeing heavy snowfall for a handful of states. Basically every western state west of the Rockies here is seeing snowfall for their mountainous regions. Everywhere west of that line, as you can see, has snowfall occurring in it to some extent or another, which is fairly interesting. And that's the very end of the model run. That's between Wednesday and Thursday there, November 2nd through 3rd. We're going to learn more about this upcoming, obviously, but for now, it seems like this pattern looks to continue. Now, total precipitation through the next 10 days is no surprise. There's plenty going on. I don't even know if there's a single area here that's seeing no precipitation, but if you're anywhere in the whites, we're expecting no precipitation. Maybe Nebraska, Kansas, and California have a couple spots there, and Texas, I see. If you're anywhere in the grays, we're seeing 1/10 of an inch or less. If you're in the greens, we're expecting 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. Your blues will be 1/2 an inch to an inch. Your yellows will be 1 inch to 2 inches. Your reds will be 2 to 5 inches. And then your browns will be 5 to 10 inches of precipitation. Now, as far as total snowfall here, in the grays, we're expecting a dusting. If anything, your blues will be 2 to 6 inches of snowfall. Your purples will be 6 to 10. Your pinks will be 10 to 20. Your pastel blues will be 20 to 30, and then your pastel pinks, they're like what we're seeing in British Columbia, is going to be about 30 to 40 inches of snowfall. Now, for the temperature pattern here, we can see it's cold in the west, warm in the east here. We're fully in this pattern. We stick in it. This is by Wednesday the 26th, though. We see the cold is moving a little bit further eastward, and this is when that cold front comes through. We get more neutral to below normal temperatures here for Thursday and through Friday there. But we do see that after Friday, the cold wants to stick around. This is when we're in that kind of interesting limbo phase where there's some warmth everywhere. There's some cold for some spots. I know I just literally drew all over the place there. But we see we kind of return here to this warm in the east, cold in the west pattern at the very end. So this seems to be what we return to for the first week of November. According to this European model, a very strong and solid negative PNA here, very classic pattern. I wanted to show you guys the GFS because it's pretty interesting. We get the same thing basically, except we do get a major Arctic blast around the 5th here for the eastern United States, the 5th through the 6th, it appears, which will be the weekend there. So that'll be like Friday through Sunday time frame there, the first weekend of November. We do get major cold air in the eastern United States. And then we get another big cool down developing here around the 8th. But this does have that same look where it could head eastward. So if the GFS is onto something and the European model comes into agreement, basically we can see that maybe this pattern is going to start to really flip approximately around the end of the first week of November, which would give us about 10 to 15 days of this pattern total, where it's very warm in the east and much cooler than normal out west. So that gives us kind of some insight to when the potential end of this pattern could be. Anyway, stick with us. We do upload every single day. We will get to the bottom of this regardless whether this GFS model is right or wrong. Eventually this pattern will flip, and we will obviously be the first to find out as we just continue to track the upcoming pattern. So be sure to subscribe, be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, and leave a comment down below with your thoughts, and I will see you guys in the next video.